Hello and welcome to Answer the Call. Today's topic should be an interesting one. We just had a roadmap update where we had 3.12 added to the roadmap, some things move down to 3.11, and it's the last two patches of the year. Usually at the beginning of the year, it's kind of, first patch is fix all the stuff that happened at the end of the year, plus planning. Second patch, which is 3.10, what we're in now, is kind of quality of life. And then the last two patches tend to be like really good, new, big feature topic kind of stuff because CitizenCon's there. CitizenCon tends to highlight what will happen in 3.12. We obviously don't know what's coming in CitizenCon, and the 3.12 roadmap has very few items on it. But I do see a lot of people looking at the rest of the year and going, it's dead, the game is dead, oh my goodness, everything is bad. And to some extent, I don't think they're entirely wrong, right? When also from the roadmap, we saw Crusader and Orison move out of this year and to next year. And that is super telling at the fact that server meshing didn't make it in. 2019 CitizenCon, CR was saying, we hope to have it in by the end of next year. And I think we all knew that if CR is hoping, then it probably wouldn't make it in. And so I think it was pretty obvious that was going to move out, but now it's sort of official, right? So what is that telling about as well? Pyro's not going to make it into this year. In no way can we have any additional locations added to Star Citizen at this point without the servers exploding, right? So if that's the case, where's the hype this year? What's going to keep this hype train going? I said before we started the show that with the Invictus launch week, they made $15 million plus, tons of new people coming around to see the game. Honestly, like YouTube view counts were up, Twitch view counts were way up. It was kind of good timing with the fact that everybody was home and not working, and I feel like they kind of let that wave just pass them by. I don't necessarily think it was of any fault of their own, right? The game was in the state that it was in. The postmortem, they did really prove that it was like, hey, we weren't expecting that many people, right? So the whole thing kind of started to fall apart during Invictus week, and we really haven't had much big ticket items that are to keep the hype alive with Star Citizen. So will it die this year? And that's sort of the question is, will the Star Citizen hype die this year? Or will something come later in the year? And I really want to hear what you guys have to say. So we'll just jump into it. And our first caller is Unmatched. And let me bring him down. Unmatched, welcome to the show. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Today's my birthday, so I got on the show on my birthday.
Happy birthday, dude. Phil's birthday, man, in the Twitch chat. I guess, Unmatched, before we get started, something I should have done is if you guys are watching on Twitch and you do want to join the show, you could type !Discord in chat. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to take part in the show in the future, we are on Sundays at around 10 o'clock in the morning. Today we're starting a little bit earlier, around 9:30 Eastern time. So if you guys ever want to take part in the show, that's where you do it. All right, so Unmatched. Happy birthday, first off. Congratulations. I hear you are now 12 years old.
Yes, I wish I could go back a few years, man. Yeah. You know, knowing what I know now, we always wish we were younger, right?
True.
Yep. I just wish I could have known what I know now younger. But yes, I'm officially 12, I guess. But yep. So, real feeling old at 12.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue.
No, what do you think about this? So you see in the roadmap updates. What do you think about this year?
Honestly, you know Star Citizen, it ebbs and it flows.
Absolutely.
You know, it peaks and it valleys. You know, it's just gonna be like this for the whole year. Normally,
what is this?
It's like normally since 2015, since I've been following this project, like for the first from the second month of the year all the way to like the 6th or the 7th or maybe even the 8th month of the year, it's just like everybody's morale is low around Star Citizen because they don't dish out much until like around CitizenCon through until Christmas and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, but it's just that this year the only thing that's different is that we had the pandemic.
Sure.
So the company has been functioning differently. Everybody's had to go home. They probably haven't had close as much productivity as they would on a normal year.
I mean,
So
hey,
they don't
on
have much.
SCO, they asked them if that was an issue, and they said that's not the issue.
I doubt it. I really, you know how it is with corporations. They got to keep even with investment companies, they always got to keep the faith high, and stuff like that. They have to
Sure.
keep the faith high, whether it's investors or viewers
Mhm.
or people that's funding the program. They have to keep your faith high, and they're going to tell you whatever they want to keep you funding the game. CIG aside, is just with any other corporation.
Sure. Okay.
um but yeah, it's just that this year they probably didn't have nearly as many things. It's not like you could get like you could do much from your house, and God knows how much equipment they couldn't drag home with them.
Sure.
It's just that I'm pretty sure their productivity has been low throughout the year, and they're gonna have to pull out something big at CitizenCon. I really do think they're gonna have to pull out something big at CitizenCon. I haven't been
Speculate.
keeping up.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
I haven't. Well, I'll tell you about that just now. I'll just tell you this first part. I haven't been keeping up with the project much myself, even though I'm Star Citizen. I've been always been Star Citizen crazy. I haven't been keeping up much.
What's going on?
Partly because they haven't partly because they haven't announced anything that I would get hyped for.
Mhm.
And they rejigged the whole roadmap, and there's nothing there that I really cared about. On top of that, I finally got a real job and stopped driving for Uber down in New York City. So I've
Ah,
been working
nice.
50 hours a week. you know.
So you're busy.
So yeah, so I'm busy. Like the only day I really have a full day to myself. Saturday I'm sleeping all day, and Sunday I have to do my chores. So I don't really have that much time.
Yeah. Sunday is ATC day, man.
Yeah. So now I fully got time for you instead of having to drive for Uber and Saturday night and just barely make it home to get on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But
What do you think they can
yeah,
pull off?
I don't. I honestly, dude, I really don't know what they could pull off this year. Maybe they could give us a date for the release of Squadron 42, but other than that, like, what else more do they have to announce when it comes that will really get the Star Citizen community in a frenzy? I don't know what they can unless they pull a rabbit out their hat and be like, oh, now you can have 100 people in a server, or oh, now you can have 1,000 people in a server, and
Yeah.
I don't think they could pull anything out this year that's really going to get the thing. They're backlogged on like crazy on the roadmap. So it's like whatever they announced last year, they have to get done in 2021. Skip 2020, and they gotta catch up with that in 2021.
Yeah, I laughed at you a
And
little bit with the Squadron 42 thing, but if you look back at the Squadron 42 calling all devs that they did, the last guy, the art guy, they were
yeah,
working on something for CitizenCon. So
what is it? Maybe I missed out on it.
no, he hinted that they were working on something. That's the most we got. So we're not. I don't think we're getting a date. I really don't think we're getting a date, man. They're not that dumb to try and give dates, like, because they know they're just gonna miss it. But what I do think that we might get is a pretty significant update.
Yeah. First, like, yeah, as I was saying, Star Citizen ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't fulfill much on the roadmap. Nothing that's gonna, like, has changed the game drastically to be like, oh, I gotta update my download folder to make sure I'm ready for whatever next you know update they're gonna have or something like that. That's why even like
Mhm.
when you asked, what was the last topic you did on ATC? What's the best features of 3.1? I couldn't come on because I didn't even know what was in
Nah.
3.1.
The timing, I didn't even put it up on YouTube or anything. The timing of
Yeah,
that one was
yeah,
really bad.
yeah, and yeah, and a lot of people didn't even come on that show that day because most people they probably would probably agree with me. It's not nothing much uh, different in 3.1 that would to get you know overhyped for me
Mhm.
right now. I've got, believe it or not, my hype is higher for this game that a lot of streamers have been going crazy over, called Ashes of Creation. And
It
um
looks a lot like Star Citizen did.
yeah, it really does. And I swore to myself I'd never go back to a fantasy game, but it's something to play while I'm waiting for Star Citizen, if I even have time for it anymore. But right now,
Oh,
it
you got
just
jebaited by that?
what did I get debated by?
I think it's just like, I think the guy in Ashes of Creation is just like the only difference is that he's funding it.
Yeah, he's funding. I've known the game since it really did look like a piece of trash to
Mm,
now, so I've seen it grown.
gotcha.
Um, uh, and yeah, I understand why you say that. Everything that's coming out of this guy's mouth is what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Everything.
It's CR 10 for the chairman 2015 all over
Yeah,
again, dude.
yeah. It's like
Like,
everything that's coming out of his mouth is
I'll
like
wait.
everything you want to hear about
I'll
about
wait.
a MMO. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna wait. I made myself an account on the Intrepid thing, but I didn't make any payments. I'm like, I could wait on this. He said he doesn't want your money, so I'm not gonna give him my money.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stay on the side and watch this project. I'm not gonna fund it up to $1,000 like I did Star Citizen, and I'm just gonna wait on that. And I'm gonna, if it comes out before Star Citizen, I'll play that, waiting for Star Citizen. I don't have to be disappointed every year that Star Citizen didn't come out that year, or Squadron 42 didn't come out that year.
Sure.
Um,
So do
but
you think the hype dies this year? Yes or no?
I think that, in my final statement, I think that Star Citizen hype will probably be the lowest it'll ever reach until they pull out, and they've got to pull out something really big on CitizenCon, something more than just features we know that were coming, features that we know were promised. We need something, maybe a playable demo, or
You think
or
lower than the
like
wait for
for
3.0?
Squadron. Yeah, very low. It's gonna be the lowest point again. There isn't anything worth being hyped up for Star Citizen right now as a
Mm-hmm.
as a backer that keeps up with development. I don't think
Okay.
there's
Well,
anything.
okay. Before we let you go, that is the most important point I think you make. As a backer who keeps up for development, there's nothing. But for people outside, which is really where hype gets hype doesn't get created within the community so much. We're always paying attention to it. But what I mean by hype is what brings those outside people that go away every year back in, and what gets people that have never heard about it interested. Because that's what they've done, one of those things every year. Hurston, the First Planet, 3.0, 2.0, 2.6 with Star Marine, things like that, right?
It's easy to get hyped as a person that's first discovering Star Citizen.
But how do they find it?
It gives you feelings. Star Citizen already has something that no other game has. It gives you feelings that no other game has ever given me. And I've played many video games, many RPGs. I had a year and a half since I quit FedEx 2 years and a half ago. I had a year and a half of just gaming, and even after playing all those damn games, Star Citizen still gave me a feeling that I never felt before in video game.
I agree, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's not. Hold on. We get that, okay? Put your feels money man down and hold up. It's not about your feelings. It's about how does every single year, Star Citizen does something that sort of blows people's minds in the gaming community that spreads out to the gaming community. I'm not talking about when you play the game, what you feel. It's what feature comes out that goes, whoa, They're doing it again. They're doing something big.
No, that's not gonna happen for 2020.
Okay.
I guarantee it. I'll put my money on it. It's not gonna happen for 2020. The guys that were doing the server stuff, they had to stay home. What are they gonna do with the servers now? You know what I'm saying? They can't do nothing. Everybody had to take all their whatever equipment they had and bring it home with them. They probably were lacking so much equipment. They couldn't bring those what was like 40-inch drawing screens that the artists drove on. You can't be lugging that home and stuff like that,
I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm pretty sure they did, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of equipment they missed out on. There's a lot of infrastructure that their house doesn't have, like those gigabit internets and stuff like that. They probably had problems that they were running in with. It's not like you could upload gigabytes. There's probably some dude that worked at Star Citizen that had to upload, each patch. They send patches between each other every night. Some dude probably take hours just to send off one patch, But I don't think, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, that there's nothing that's gonna be blowing anybody's socks off this year at CitizenCon. They're probably gonna announce something we already know, you know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna just do this is the roadmap and this is what's coming at at CitizenCon. But they couldn't do nothing with the pandemic. Pandemic slowed down everything, and again, they're gonna have to pull something way out of left field or whatever that metaphor is.
Yeah.
For them to be blowing off socks this year, you know what I'm saying?
True.
And they're gonna need somebody to one of the big streamers to view it in front of his 30,000 followers to get the hype up a little bit when it comes down as low as I think it is right now, and it's gonna go even lower throughout the year. You know what I'm saying? We're not even close to CitizenCon, so we've got months to go, dude.
Yeah.
And we can't have a physical CitizenCon this year, so we're based. I think the Star Citizen community is gonna be on its lowest of the low for this year, at least until next year.
I agree. Well, all right, Unmatch. We'll let you go with that one. Thank you for your call, man.
Yeah. All right. I'll thank you for having me on. See
Anytime, man. Be good.
All right.
Bye. And we'll bring in Dr. Introvertitious. Dr. I can't say it now. Introvertitious. How you doing, dude?
I'm all right, Mike.
How's it going? So what do you think? Will the hype die?
Probably. It depends on...
What does dead hype look like? That's one thing we didn't address in the last call. What does it look like? Is it just a content creator thing? What does it mean?
I don't know, because it's not hype for everyone who already has it. It's more hype for everyone who isn't in this.
Exactly.
So it's a hype for people who aren't into this.
The thing is,
get them in.
Yeah, I agree, but I think the hype does sort of start with us, right?
Yeah, the hype.
The hype starts with us, and we go, "Yo, hey, buddy, that sort of plays the game sometimes. They're doing something cool this next patch. You should probably join me and play and have some fun." And then he tells his buddies, and then he tells, And
then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's how we get hype.
Exactly.
But I don't think we're having that with the rest of 2020.
In 2020,
we don't have anything exciting. We don't have.
What about iCache? I know it's just tech.
It's an interesting one. I'm excited for it.
Why?
It's more. It's physicalized inventory. That's what I'm excited for.
Why does it excite you?
Because now I can have 100 depends on 1,000 ammo rounds. With that, I won't have 1,000 ammo rounds. I'll have 200 or 300 or something. Yeah, and I'll have those and only those. So I'll have to plan for that.
And what about the fact that, like, when you run out of ammo, you might be able to pick it off of somebody that you killed? Might.
Yeah,
This is a big might. I don't know. See, the whole thing is I don't know if iCache and physicalized inventories equals looting. But if it equals looting, then looting might also equal, like, I can pick something up and sell it as well, or I can pick something up and use it. So that really could be that big thing. Yeah, it might seem like a small thing, but it's a big thing, I think.
It's a big thing. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the thing that's exciting as well.
I agree.
It's more, yeah.
What else? Is there anything else that could stick out? I think it's very clear that we can't get another location in the game.
Oh, absolutely not. No. That one.
So we're not going to get server meshing. So it really comes down to that. Like, do we think that the looting, like, if we come to the conclusion that iCache is the really only thing that can be exciting, is that something that can really push them forward for the next year and have them ride a nice wave?
I think so. Yeah.
How so? What do you think would be? How do you think the game would play out? How do you think people would enjoy it? What do you think the game looks like after that?
There'll be more of a focus on, like, play style. So, like, if you're like an FPS person, then you'll have to, like, stock up on ammo before you go, or you'll have to, like, pick up ammo like as you're there. But, like, if we're talking FPS stuff, then we should be talking about AI stuff as well, because, like, that's a big part of FPS stuff, like having like AI that's not dynamic per se, but it sort of varies each time, so it's not all just on, like, the same script.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when you're able to loot other players,
yeah, that'll be
I think the story starts to become less about you, because right now, don't you feel like it's you're either just playing the game with you and your friends, and you're just kind of in it in your own little world. You don't interact with people that much.
Yeah.
And I think once you can loot other players, that includes NPCs, is that I think the story, there actually starts to become a story. Interactions with other people, and how they might, every time you come across somebody, it's, is this guy going to kill me or not? Right? And right now, there's no reason to kill anybody. And I know, I don't want this game to turn into, like, Grand Theft Auto or
no.
or DayZ necessarily. But maybe.
Yeah,
you know, maybe to a smaller extent. What makes DayZ and some of these other games so cool is that you never know what's going to happen in your interactions, right? And I kind of like that. And I think something like that could be a wave that CIG could ride.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it's less about, I feel like, what you were saying, where it's like I have to prepare for my battles. That's cool. And that is hype, I guess. But I think it goes out so much further. Like, the little roots from that one bit of gameplay can go really crazy. Are you a PvPer, Doctor?
Sometimes I am.
Okay.
Sometimes.
I mean, we play Star Marine together a lot, just for reference, everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think of what you might want to add at the end here. What do you think? if they drop something big, what do you think CitizenCon will be like? CitizenCon could be hype. We might not actually have the thing in the game. What do you think happens at CitizenCon?
I don't know. They could have someone saying, this is what we have planned, but then it could just be that, and that'll be its own hype. But like, they haven't said anything about it.
Yeah, but they don't usually. They hint at little things, right?
Yeah, small things, but it's not anything like, this is what we're doing.
What about this? They pushed back Crusader to Q1 and Q2. Do you think them showing a cloud city is enough to hype people around the game? Even though it won't be in the game.
I think so.
That's sick, man. I think that
Cloud City is,
I just smiled.
Is interesting.
Yeah.
It's just
thinking about it.
It's the first thing that's not on like a surface.
It's different.
It's an interesting place.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be new shots probably. There'll be all that stuff on there.
It'll just be a totally different point of view, right? A floating city. Might be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, Doctor. I guess we'll let you go here. Is there anything you want to add before I do, though?
I think the main thing that like I always tell people, like, if you do back this thing, don't have all the expectations in the world. Just sit down and take the ride and see where it takes you.
I agree.
Because after you're back, there isn't like anything you can say or do that'll just, you just have to sit down and see where it goes.
I agree. And I think, like, look at the topic of today's show, right? It's all about the hype. Because Star Citizen, that's how it's been. It's all been riding this hype, and what hype is typically is having expectations over reality, right? And that's what has driven Star Citizen to its $300 million and everything. It's hype. And it's people creating expectations in their mind that probably aren't realistic, and then they decide to buy the game because of that. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think the reason we're interested in this game and the reason we buy this game is because they're doing something different. They're pushing video games past a boundary that big companies like EA and Blizzard and places like that either can't do or are not willing to do. And I think it's more the second one. So yeah, they're willing to take the risks, and we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah,
man. Well, all right, Doctor, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in Star Marine.
Yeah, I'll be interesting.
Later, bud. All right, and before we bring in our next caller, because I'm going to be stalling here a little bit because I have to put his name in. If you guys do want to tweet and you're not really comfortable coming on the show, I understand that it is kind of an uncomfortable situation for some people. You can tweet at me using the hashtag ATC, and I'll be bringing you guys on the show for that. But now I'm ready, so we'll bring on the next caller. His name is Bad Words. He is a regular. Welcome, Bad. How you doing, man?
How you doing? When did my name get that long that you need to work on it?
Hey, I just forgot to type it in, so I stalled. So I gotta type, and I gotta click save, and I gotta click, are you sure you want to overwrite this? All that stuff.
All right. And you had to press the red button.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Nah, man. So what's up? What do you think? Is this gonna be a hype year?
I'll go through the good and bad. But
all right.
First,
wait. Do I get to choose what I want first?
I'll let you. What not? It's your show.
I want the bad first.
All right, the bad. COVID hurt them bad. You're talking about a studio that's uncoordinated before this when they were in the same office, and now they have to go home and be further uncoordinated. These are people who sit there, deploy an entire thing. We had the whole flight system released. Oh, wait, hold on. You mean what? We need a new... Oh, yeah, let's make another one and another one. Yeah. combat system. Okay, let's do that again.
Yep.
So they don't have like a list that they just keep with, you know. So, and then for the first time in a while, we have what are called the hype thieves who have come in and they're trying to steal the hype. You have Star Wars squadrons suddenly
thieves.
coming in. Yeah, they're just taking the hype. You have
ridiculous.
You have Squadron. You have Elite Dangerous trying to lease some DLC. More stealing that hype.
Unbelievable.
And then of course you have like the backers, the Kickstarter people like that Ashes of Creation, where it's like, okay, well, I can give you. We already have a beta, and
yeah.
we came
all
out
right,
the same
Scuff
time,
Chris
you know?
Roberts. Okay.
Yeah,
I see
all
you.
of them. That's thievery. That's what it is. And of course, what happened? But you know, I'm not going to say CIG is not trying hard to fight back. I mean, they did return back like the Atmos flare when you enter atmosphere.
Yeah,
that was a nice touch. You know, that big hype moment back in 3.0, if you remember, that sold a few thousand copies. Just that, you know?
Easily. Yeah.
All right, and then of course the other thing I'm thinking of is you now let's go back to we'll go a little tinfoil hat on this one.
Oh,
I have a
nice.
strong feeling the minute eye catch and meshing is enabled, suddenly magically all console support crossplay. Big hype. They're going to abandon the 3.0 backers that they love right now. They're going for the 4.0. 4.0 ad backers, get all those console kiddies in.
I don't know how to respond to that.
It's a hard pill.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen well. I have a feeling that they probably will. I think that they'll go for that money. You know?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's the whole thing is you can't put it past them to try and go for that market. Do we know the specs and stuff of the PS5 or whatever and the new Xbox?
It should. I think it's about the baseline of the current mid. It's like, well, they're AMDs, so that's one issue that, you know, they would have to get Star Citizen reworked so that there weren't so many problems with AMD graphics chips.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're going to Vulkan, aren't they?
I can't remember one of them.
Vulkan is AMD, isn't it? Or it's just open? I don't know. I don't know much about computers. Yeah, I know how to build one, but I don't know how they work.
I mean, but yeah, essentially they would. They should run, and they should run at least at 1080p or 4K at this point on that new hardware.
Well, I think it's less the hardware, right? And isn't it more like Windows versus whatever they might be using?
No,
I don't. Again, I don't know.
Nowadays consoles are just here's a $700 discount computer that plays games, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And whatever works, you know.
Yeah. So Xbox runs on Windows 10, guys. Like, it's not like what kind of port do you really need to do then?
Yeah, I mean, both of them. I mean, we're in the world where everything's cross-play anyway, so they have ways to make these things work regardless. And so long as it's as good, and plus, you remember Chris Roberts. Every time there's a CitizenCon, he's always there with that controller. He's been fiending on keeping this game controller able the entire time.
Maybe because he's just a fucking boomer, dude.
Well, it could be. I'll say this though.
I think you're onto something, but maybe he is just a boomer.
Yeah, that's true. But I will say though, I am a little. I'm thinking CitizenCon they might bring it up, but ever since Star Wars Galaxies mentioned the VR support out the box, I was like, how is he not mentioned? Why have we not seen the VR helmet put on so you can literally look around in your ship with the way the ships are designed? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Would make life so much easier in a game like this, you know.
What do you think CitizenCon might bring? Because it goes one or two ways, right? The hype is either in the game, and that people are like, "Holy crap, you can go to a planet," right? Or wow, moons that you could fly down to with no loading screens. You know, that stuff was cool. Or it's something they show at CitizenCon. Like, remember how WoW, I don't know, the first time we saw Area 18 was. That was pretty sick, right? You were like, holy shit, they did it. Like, I remember the old Redacted podcast, like, every 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 weeks, we'd be like, we just have an argument, like, I don't think Area 18 is possible. And then somebody else would be like, yeah, it is. And they did it, you know? That was a big deal. So, if they do anything at CitizenCon, what do you think it looks like?
Well, I'll say this: if they bring their A game, I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing salvaging. I think we're going to the big demo will be salvaging. It'll be destroying a ship and ripping it apart on like whatever format they do it. I think that will be the highlight of CitCon to this point.
Okay.
I think the second course at CitCon, if you're going to call it a meal, will be finally watching the Merlin undock from the Connie.
Yeah.
Since they tease that Connie rework right now. I mean, if you think about it, they're already at that point now. They might have a taste by that time CitCon comes around.
Yeah, I see that. Okay. That's yeah.
And then we'll throw a little dessert on there.
You're good at puzzles.
And yes, and I'd probably say the way they kind of tease that Argo a little bit, I think Argo's the new sexy. I think they realize that utility ships sell better than combat ships at this point. They're going to put a new Argo out.
Because combat sucks. Argo. It's not enjoyable, but utility works. Mining works. Cargo hauling works. Combat doesn't.
And after the last tease, more utility gray cats. Gray cats for everyone.
That's right. Gray cats
Mining
for life.
Gray cats.
Except for the fact that they don't have quantum drives, so it just doesn't. Like, that's been my favorite thing is, we'll take our gray cat down from the space station. All right, I'll see you in 20 minutes.
Wait for the gray cat drop pod. Wait for it.
All right.
Just drive it off the side of your caterpillar, let it entry, and just slam down on the planet. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Perfectly safe.
Easy.
And then, of course, if all else fails and none of that happens, they'll just take his 2 daughters and film them 30 minutes in the caterpillar, trying to do a mission and yelling at people to get good.
Okay. now you're going somewhere. I don't know.
People will eat that up.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, how about this? We'll leave it at this one. What do you think CitizenCon even looks like this year? Just a collection of YouTube videos or a live stream of sorts? Like, what do you think they do?
I think they are.
Is it a fucking Zoom call? Oh my god.
I think they're going to resurrect their plan that they try to do. Remember last year when they got upset when they were trying to charge CitizenCon for like internet people?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to do that. Where I honestly, if they use Twitch, I would say they would take advantage of the squad. You know, they would do a bunch of separate streams and then squad them together into one big CitCon screen, like or something like that. That would be the best way to go about it.
You got to be partnered to do that, though. But they have connections with Amazon, so maybe they could.
I'm pretty sure if they go to Twitch and say we're doing they'll put it in an event. They'll put it in the event group and just do it like that. You know?
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, I do see the potential of I'll say this. I'm pretty sure they're already keeping an eye on how all these other presentations have been done so far, and they're kind of keeping an eye on what works.
Yeah.
That at least they.
Alleganth and Twitch has said that in March they said that there wouldn't be a digital CitCon. Yeah, that's true. But if they see like Bad Word says, if they see that it works for other companies, I don't think that they would be afraid of doing it. Something like a live stream of sorts. That, or they won't call it CitCon. They'll call it something else. Yeah, exactly. Well, all right, Bad Words. Is there anything you want to say before we let you go? Well, just one other thing. The other thing I could think of is if they do other things, just even if they take it on and put it off, putting the Refinery Starfarer stuff back on the roadmap again as the end of the Refinery Starfarer. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the integration of all of it, not just. I mean, the refineries have always been there, but really
this is a big deal kind of thing. When you
Mhm.
put the if you wrap the Starfarer back in, it becomes a big deal again.
True. Okay.
I don't think they're anywhere near I think the economy is, after they do the eye catch and the server meshing, I think the economy system is still the new pipe dream. It's going to be the next 4.0 like thing that leads to 5.0. I don't think they're even begun to really get there.
Okay. I think with the Starfarer, with your point, I don't think we'll see the Starfarer do anything until they redo it altogether. It doesn't live up to what the other ships are, and the Starfarer is such a key ship in the Star Citizen universe, right? It's the only one that really does what it does. There's no other ships that do it, at least refine like it does, and yeah, I just don't see them bringing anything to that ship without redoing it completely. So until we start seeing them talk about Starfarer rework, I doubt we'll see anything happen to that, you know?
Yeah, but I still feel like they, for me personally, the fact that they even showed progress on the Connie of, even though it was the tour stuff, was a little bit of a hype generator, because
Absolutely.
I'm one of the people who, that's their first ship, and the fact that they even acknowledged that it was one of their first ships, that this is something they needed to do, was a big, okay, we're listening kind of thing now.
True. All right. Well, all right, Bad Words. Thanks for coming on. I'll let you go, and thank you, as always, for a great call.
All right, take care.
You too, buddy. All right, Sarfa81, you're here. Welcome. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. So feel free to comment on anything else the other callers have said as well, but will the hype die for Star Citizen this year?
I think no, because it's getting near at the end of the year, they always do their big expo, right? And sure, they'll probably do another free fly event, which will bring new people in. The expo will generate money. At the same time, being that they're not having a CitizenCon, they can like you guys were talking about, have like some kind of digital thing either on Twitch or YouTube, and kind of show what they're working on for the new community, the people coming in. Like, oh, you can test free flight, but check this out. This is what's coming on next year. This is what's kind of happening in the next 6 months to a year. Like you were talking about, showing the Cloud City. And one thing that always sells this game is the beauty. It does. You can just tell by people taking their screenshots and like, look how beautiful this is.
Yeah.
But that sells the game, and it generates hype, especially for new backers.
It's true. Is there anything else that you think could possibly? I mean, it was weird. What about Invictus generated hype? Like, that's the big thing, is they didn't even think they would get as many players as they did. I know it's like a Javelin and an Idris, but like, we've seen videos of it a million times. It was such a weird thing, and for me personally, what I felt generated that hype is they don't recognize the fact that the game is kind of almost there, where it's like sort of interesting and sort of fun to play. It's not there yet, but I think that the game can support some level of hype now rather than just the visuals.
I guess the biggest thing with the Javelin and everything like that, it shows like these huge ships that you just seen in videos, but actually seeing them in game, seeing them actually move, seeing them actually QT and move on out, like it's cool. It's cool as fuck.
It was.
I mean,
it was very
you can't
cool.
deny it. And then the thing I'm upset about is like the fact that they wouldn't let people destroy it. But
When they took that away, I was like, it was weird though, because they like highlighted it, that like, oh wow, look at what these guys did, and then they were like, yoink, nobody else can. It was kind of like, not that I was going to take part in any of that really anyway. It was a weird message they sent. Yeah.
But I think for like new players who probably started in what was it? Was Invictus? Sorry, couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
I think it happened at a really kind of good time for them to kind of sell the game, because a lot more people were home. I mean, I know it kind of sucks. We're in a pit. It was kind of like the heat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was the kind of start of everything, and people were home, and it gave them something to do. It's something to see, something new, something different. And even now, I mean, a lot more people are still, I guess, home. I honestly, I have no idea how the rest of the world is dealing with this stuff, because I've been working, you know.
True, yeah, I've been working for most of it.
Yeah, I just hit like 20 years in the army, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a real shock for me, like in like 6 months, like when I retire. Like, what do I do now? I got to go find a job. Oh God.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
But I guess what I would ask next is, what do you think about the possibility of iCache? Do you think like what I'm really trying to get here is, do you think the game can hype itself, and if we add a little bit of influx of something interesting and something different, could that carry us through the year?
I don't think it'll carry through the year. I mean,
okay.
iCache, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just physicalized inventory and like everything like that, right?
It allows for persistence. So if it's the whole Chris Roberts coffee cup meme, like if Chris Roberts has his little coffee cup and he drops it on the planet, he can come back a week later and it should be there.
Okay.
And then,
I mean,
because of that, you're able to do things like better, I guess, or easier. Is you know, I have an inventory. I have my ship should persist the way it does all the time, so on and so forth. If I leave my ship here on this moon, that is now my outpost, kind of thing that I can go back to.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. It'd be crappy for traders who try to bedlog and get their ships destroyed.
Well, I mean, that system that's an exploit anyway, right?
Yeah, so
closing
like, I don't
a loop.
care. Like,
sorry, you filthy griefers.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I don't think it's griefing. I think it's
I'm just
pirating,
memeing.
But,
yeah,
no. But yeah, I think that will generate some hype, especially for people that have been playing for a long time. I don't think it'll be such a big deal for newer backers, but for people that have been backing since like day one, it's a huge milestone.
Yeah. No. It's true. It means a lot to me. That's why I really keep bringing it up, is I really do think when you start interacting with players, here's the deal, right? Is we talk about Star Citizen from this perspective that there's always 9 NPCs for every 1 player, right? So where does the story really get told? It's most of the story in the PU is probably going to get told by the lore team and whatever storylines play out throughout the MMO whenever it becomes one. But I think where the real stories are and what could happen is when it's guild versus guild stuff, right? You see that guy in his test squadron armor, or you see that I don't know, a Mobile Industries guy, and you're like, you know, I'm friendly with him, but I'm not friendly with him. How do those interactions go? There's a lot of stuff like that I think those stories start to develop. You know, you start creating hate for one group and love for another, and I think that's when you really start to have a game.
Yeah,
and I think it starts with being able to kill somebody for a reason, for a gain.
Yeah, and I think one thing would really hype me up is if they start bringing the Death of the Spaceman stuff in, where you actually have to value your life, where you just don't, land your cat at hearse and then like backspace, that way you can quickly get over there. Like, you actually value your life. You have to value everything in the game. And that's, I think, the biggest problem.
Were you here early in the stream today?
I kind of popped in probably maybe when you were talking to that dude from Test Squadron.
So you came in later. We actually had that discussion this morning. I agree with you 1,000,000%. The problem with it is that I don't see it anytime soon. I don't know how
they're talking about hospitals.
Yeah, but here's the big thing about it is when you say Death of a Spaceman thing, I don't know if we'll actually get Death of a Spaceman even when the game's released. I'm not sold on it yet. That they won't more casualize it a little bit. I'm for it, but I'm just not sold 100% that they'll go that direction. What I'm afraid of is that if we insert this stuff too early when the game is the way it is now, we have to commit suicide in the game because of a bug way too often.
Yeah.
You know, and there's too many scenarios where the game kills you and other players and NPCs don't. And I agree with you, but it's just when can that be a reality? But is that, that's one of those things is like, that would bring a lot of hype to the game. That would make the game real.
Once they figure all that stuff out and they can actually implement it, like that will get me hyped up. And reading that, like I don't know if you remember, like I'm a pretty new backer. I've only been really going on like 9-10 months now. But that's what sold me on the game. The idea of like I had to value my life and like I could die. Yeah. Like this, I could lose everything that I worked hard for. And
that's cool.
And I try to play the game now like it is like my life value. Like I just don't commit suicide just to kind of speed up my process getting somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't pick fights where I know I'll lose. Mm-hmm. No, even when I do criminal stuff, like I was like, oh, there's like 3 bounty hunters after me. I'm not gonna fight them. I'm gonna jump here, stop here, jump somewhere else, and then like, of course, in global chat they're like, "Well, are you too scared to fight?" It's like, no, I'm valuing my life. Like, I'm not fighting a 3v1. Yeah. No, like even if I'm a criminal, I'm smart. You know, like I'll get into somewhere where they can't track me, like around Grimhex or if I know the comm link's down somewhere, like I'll go there. So that way they don't know where I am. Like I'll just keep moving, do whatever I have to do to stay alive.
I don't normally...
that to me is enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. You and I see eye to eye in what makes games great. What makes certain games great is fear is a really powerful thing in a video game. For me, I obviously think other players would rather just a more relaxing experience, but for me, it's all about fear of loss. That really makes... The games that I've enjoyed the most have that in them. What I don't normally respond to Twitch chat while we're on the podcast because I obviously prefer people to come on the show or tweet at us, but this comment was just too good to skip over. It's from Sniper NLN, and it applies to what we were just talking about. Criminals already have a death penalty, prison. Now lawful players should get one too, a hospital. It's like, oh, okay. Hard to disagree with that one, right? I agree with that. Yeah. Is there anything you think you would add to it? Like, what would that punishment look like? We don't need death of a spaceman yet. I think that's clear. But what would a hospital punishment look like? A bill, maybe?
Somebody was talking about this yesterday, and I can't remember what channel I was on. But just like, oh yeah, it was on Astropub.
Is that okay?
Captain Burks and Space Cutlet. Just like having to go through rehab and like it's really kind of tedious thing, but it doesn't take forever to do. But like, you got to kind of pay for your hospital bills and like kind of go through rehab if like if you lost a limb or something like that, and it's like something to make you like, oh, I got to value my life because I don't want to spend like an hour here like doing rehab. You know, people will just get annoyed with it. Like
I think that's incredibly tedious. I mean, oh man, I hate that idea. I somewhat hate the idea of prison too. Because
I don't have a problem with prison. At the end of the day, it's like I'm a criminal. Like I normally play like PvP and I do criminal jobs. Like that's what I enjoy doing. At the same time, I do everything I can to kind of stay out of prison. You know.
Sure.
But if I do go to prison, like I accept it. I've had like 13-hour prison sentences, and like I've mined my way out in an hour. Like it took a while. It took longer than I think it should have because of the bugs and everything in the game. But
yeah,
I was able to knock out 13 hours in an hour.
All that aside, what really matters here is I think for now, and I think you would agree with this too, is that you probably get sent to prison way more often than you should for much lower. Okay, there's crimes in the real world that you should go to prison for. There's crimes in video games that compare to those real world crimes that maybe you shouldn't go to prison for, right? So I think we should probably go to prison for very egregious crimes in Star Citizen, not every little thing. Now, the thing about hospitals and if there's a similar punishment in terms of a time investment, you just died, man. You didn't do anything bad. You might have crashed your ship by accident, and now the game is going to punish you on top of that. So that's where, like, whoever mentioned the whole idea of rehab, I think doesn't understand what the actual consequence would be. Player fucks up and dies for whatever reason. Dies in a PvP fight, dies to an NPC, dies to crashing his ship, and you name it, player screwed up, therefore he died. He's not happy already. He screwed up. Now you're going to punish him on top of that? And now he's got to take a time investment? That's the worst game design I've ever heard in my entire life.
Or play hospital. Like, it's not my idea. I think it's pretty funny. Like, I would find it hilarious. Like, you having to go through rehab and running around the track or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny one time. One time it's funny.
I think you should be able to probably maybe pay your hospital fees, and then, like, you kind of get, and then
you get let out, right?
Instant healed up, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it should be. And
but
holy shit, did we get off topic? Yeah.
Yeah, but like to me, like I think that
would be hype
me up though. At the end of the day,
the whole thing back to hype.
Hype me up.
Yeah, the whole thing that would hype you up is a feeling for loss.
Yeah, right now there is that's why people do half the stuff they do because they're not losing anything.
Yeah, true.
I think it would end a lot of PvP engagements because they're going to value like, oh man, I shouldn't go here because I might die.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the comm link's off right by the trading outpost. Like, ooh, this is a bad sign for me right here. Let me get out of here.
Okay. Well, all right, Sarfo, we'll let you go, but thank you so much for that call, and
take it easy.
I love talking about design stuff, so I always get lost in it. Thanks again, man. Yeah, you have a good week and stay safe, of course.
All right, bye.
Be good, bud. All right, before we get to that, we do have a tweet. It's from Rambus. And he says, SaltEMike, hashtag ATC. Hype, it depends on who you ask. Old versus new backer. My hype died after 2.4. At last CitizenCon, they told us that 2020 would be Squadron 42 focus and Star Citizen number 2. Add COVID on top of that. Of course it impacted them. Example, their VPN host couldn't handle the traffic. Yeah, but they got through that one pretty quickly, right? So a lot of people that are bringing up the COVID thing, I mean, they told us we had 310 was delayed, okay? But then after that, they really explained over and over again that it shouldn't really have much of an effect. So the COVID excuse, I gotta drop it for a lot of people. I can't deal with that. But the idea of Squadron 42 being the focus and Star Citizen being number 2 is very apparent this year, right? And if that continues for another year, will that hype die, right? So that's something to think about. All right, so let's bring on our next caller here. It's going to be Gorgon the Destroyer. I wasn't prepared again. There we go. We'll bring on Gorgon. Gorgon, what's up, man? Welcome. How you doing?
How's it going, man?
I'm good. So, what do you think about this whole? You think hype's gonna die down, or you think they can keep it alive this year?
No.
Okay. Why?
Well,
preface this. Gorgon's a combat pilot.
Yeah.
Let's preface with that.
Yeah. So I'm a combat guy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like, if you look over the history of Star Citizen and what hype is around Star Citizen, usually it's not so much pertaining to what the old backers really like want, right? As far as like their immediate, I need this to have fun playing the game type of things, right? So like ship combat doesn't create hype, right? Like we've already burnt that bridge. People are just really bored and really pissed off about combat, and not everyone's going to be satisfied with it ever. So we can just write that one off.
Mm-hmm.
Ships don't create hype because even if you have your big shiny spaceship or whatever, like who cares? You don't have anything you can do with it. The Herald doesn't create hype. The fucking Carrack doesn't create hype. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know?
Sure it did.
Well, I mean, but it died after 24 hours, right? Because you can't explore with it. It's an explorer. It's just a big fancy, skin job for a caterpillar, right?
Oh,
because
man.
that's all you do. You do caterpillar jobs in your Carrack.
Let's talk about this a little more before we move on to anything else.
All right.
Ships might not hype you. Ships might not hype me. But the second anything is mentioned about a ship, the Star Citizen Reddit loses their shit. If they put out another ship today, the Star Citizen Reddit would look completely different than it looks right now, which is a salty disaster, apparently. I haven't looked at it today, but everyone was telling me that it was really rough today. And probably deservedly so, right? But the whole thing is, the second they start showing anything about ships, everybody stops paying attention to everything else that was going on around them, and it's, oh my god, I want. Gib, this, that, all that crap, right?
Right.
So to argue that ships don't create hype, I gotta disagree with you, man. It just, we don't care. Maybe, and maybe you're going along the line of older backers don't care, but some do.
Well, no, it's kind of the opposite. Because even though a lot of older backers do really care about, like, ooh, new fancy spaceship, like, what's it gonna do? Let's theory craft about fleet composition and, like, all this stuff.
Yeah, we all know
right?
It won't do anything.
Yeah, but if you look at the
crafting...
outside of the Star Citizen bubble, right?
Okay.
What's bringing new people in, right?
Yes, and that's what hype means to me. So that's what I'm kind of describing here on this subject.
Yeah. So, like, if you look at, like, a non-backer, what's going to make them excited to, like, not just buy Star Citizen, because we can sell copies. That's not a thing. We're not talking about copies sold. We're talking about retaining concurrent players.
Yes.
When we're talking about hype, in my opinion. Right?
I agree. So,
like, what's going to bring those people in? It's not going to be spaceships. There's already a fuck ton of spaceships that do all sorts of different things, right? So a lot of those people, they already have, like, the spaceship that they've always wanted on the website with a price tag, and it says flyable. So why do they care if a new one's coming out?
Sure.
So, like, and moving on from ships and stuff, like, some people are bringing up, like, technologies and stuff. So whether it's, like, VR support or iCache or whatever. And I don't think that technology brings hype, just because it's hard to, like, understand, like, the scale and gravity of that technology without getting into the technicalities, like, very deeply, right? Of
course, but let's go back to Hurston coming online and server-side OCS, right? Or not server-side OCS, OCS. When they explained what OCS was many times, and I fell asleep. But all you needed to tell anybody was, hey, we're going to get a planet and our frame rates are going to go up.
Yeah, performance. Hype. Yes, performance.
Right? So for iCache, progression, looting, selling components, that's all there, hype, right? So the technology isn't hype, but what the technology can do is
hype, right? And that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay. I thought you were getting at the opposite. That's why I was like, I need to inject here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. See, these arguments are kind of, like, weird and double-sided that I'm going for here.
Okay.
But
you're playing both sides.
The thing about the whole technology,
a man just
sort of,
like
yeah.
Me.
But, like, yeah. But, like, the whole technology thing is, like, they can talk about and they can foreshadow and they can try to hype the technology, and that doesn't matter because no one cares, because it's really hard to just understand at face value.
Sure.
But if they pull it off, then you get the hype, because then it doesn't matter about the whole technical gobbledygook, recalibrate the power converters conversation about the technology. It's just, hey, the game plays better. Oh, wow, let's go all check it out, And then you start seeing, like, these big influxes of new players coming in, It's like that halfway period through the year, right? It's like CitizenCon's already gone, and, like, we're on our, like, third quarter patch of the year. And then, like, every couple of years, we start seeing these new players coming in, and the Twitch numbers are going up. And, like, there's a whole bunch of people asking noob questions in local chat and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, where are all these people coming from? It's not like we got fucking server meshing or, like, the Banu Merchantman or anything.
Yeah,
it's not like VR support's done. Yeah, it's like, what happened? It's like, oh yeah, the game just plays relatively good compared to the rest of the year.
Yeah. And that's sort of been my argument this whole time. right? Is if the focus was just on the game a little bit more than selling the next spaceship or showing the next location, wow, you know, Invictus can happen more than you think. Because I don't think Microtech made Invictus happen, right? I mean, obviously there's the other things, you know, that people were home, but I think the fact that people were interested, I think, really does come down to the fact that the game could hype itself now.
Yeah.
So, I think with that argument, does hype die ever for you?
Well, for me personally,
no,
yeah, all the time.
Well, for you, we know you're a combat guy. You're a salty, whiny crybaby, right? And everyone else's eyes. But when we talk about hype, will it ever die? Like in terms of the gaming community, people interested in the game, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Like like you can always we always talk about the carrot, right? Like there's always a new carrot you can kind of put on the string for the next year, right? Yeah. But I think the problem right now is that like there isn't a clear-cut carrot right now, or the stick is too long. So like we're having a hard time seeing
too
what
many
the
carrots
thing is.
Because the clear-cut carrot is server meshing.
Yeah, and that's just like unattainable at this point, right? It's just too technical, too much overhead.
Yeah, and the roadmap show tells us that it is absolutely not a thing.
Yeah. So, like, I think in order for them to, like, really generate the hype, like, well, first off, I just don't think it's going to happen this year. Like, full stop. Like, but if they were going to put something out, like, it would have to be something in the job market just to give us more things to do. So, like we're talking salvage, or market, right? Like with the privateer and the Banu and like all this stuff, like, and with iCache and personal inventories, and all of a sudden people are building up inventories of items that they can sell.
Potion
and they can use. Yes, potion seller. I require your finest potion. I'm going into battle. Yes, like stuff like that. But here's one that I think would be a hype fucking explosion when you're talking about the job market. Science. Right? Like, we have all these ships that are supposedly based in science. We have the constellations. We have the terrapins. We have all this and all that. But what does that mean? Absolutely nothing, right? Because we haven't seen any sort of R&D on it. We haven't seen any sort of foreshadowing on what, like, scientific, like, exploration, yada, 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 sort of gameplay actually looks like. But that was like a big driving factor in any space game, right? Like the whole thing is like, you know, go where no one's gone before, seek out new life and new civilizations. Like it's the very basis, like core nugget of science fiction is to go and explore and discover and like technobabble your way around the nitty gritties of stuff, regardless of how meaningless it might actually be in the larger gameplay like sandbox.
Sure,
right?
But don't you think we're getting a little bit away from the topic here where like, let's get to this. Let me just inject in here and say, do you think that's something they would show this year? If they haven't said anything about it now, you know?
Yeah. So, like, I don't think that one's going to be happening.
But that would be something that would hype you. Yeah.
I think it would hype a lot of people. Like, you know, that wouldn't be in my top 10 personally, but I think that it would be number one for many people.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, what's a realistic mechanic that could happen? I don't think anything can happen this year, dude. That's what's so crazy about this question. Is it's so weird. Is I don't think anything drastic can happen. I don't think they insert salvage this year. I don't think. I mean, we'll see refining, but is that a hype thing? You know?
Yeah. Like, I think they could do something like super basic, like around scanning or something, just to give us like little lore bits, you know, like here and there to like facilitate that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe it is.
I'm just like on the fence about if we'll be hype or not at any point this year. It's just like, yes, maybe with this thing, but oh no, I don't know. You know, I'm just constantly going from one side to the other. I'm not sure how I feel.
Yeah. But like the only other thing that I think could really like hype things up here would be like a population increase to make it feel more like the living, breathing universe that we're all lying to ourselves saying that it is.
Server meshing. And it's the only thing, right?
Wait. Or is it?
Or is it?
Right?
Oh,
Because-
okay. What do you got?
Dun, dun, dun. Like, so, like, everyone talks about the population cap for players, right? Everyone
Sure.
wants more than 50 players. Everyone wants 200, 1,000, whatever, server meshing. And that would be great.
Mhm.
And we do have a little bit of precedent saying that that may be able to be done, you know, at some point, because they did do that like 60 player cap PTU. And then I heard some other people saying like, oh, they did like a 100 player, you know, at one point and all this stuff. And they said on ATC one time that they did like 100 players like internally, and that's all fine and dandy. But I don't think that that's technically feasible, right?
Mhm.
But if they did something with the NPCs, like just something, and I know that's a fucking huge meme and everyone's omega laughing right now, but that would be huge hype, right? Because like when you're looking at the regular gamer, what gets people excited and like wanting to explore the universe more than being able to interact with the people in that world, right?
Yeah.
So like as soon as like, and it could be even like I'm not talking about like every single character is walking around and every single player is interactable and like every single like there's a mission for everybody and like all this stuff. Like it could be just something as simple as like, you know, having the player actor system work a little bit more accordingly, you know, so that they're just migrating, like adding more NPC vehicles flying around and landing at stations like they did before, you know, and they did that before. That what was that like 3.6
dude? It's never been in.
Or whatever. Like
it's never
what?
been
No,
in.
it was.
It was in. But it never worked. They just stood there, and like I maybe saw one land once.
I have vivid memories of NPCs landing at Loreville. So
yeah, one like for
either
one
I'm
day
insane
in
or,
one patch
yeah.
in a PTU probably, but I don't think it ever worked like consistently. Like when you say in, I feel like you're saying like it was in, and I don't think it ever was in working, ever.
Okay, right, but like you see what I'm talking
maybe
about.
Maybe one
like,
instance that was
maybe working, yeah, like you know, for one day or whatever. But like they have like some sort of like base infrastructure to make those sorts of things happen, no matter how jank it may have been. But like that would be something that would really make the game just seem more believable from like a player standpoint, right? It just makes it like easier for people to get into because it feels more lively. It's not just like, here's your spaceship, go do whatever you want. By the way, there's nothing to do and you'll never see anybody except a ganker. You know, like that's not a very like enticing, you know, sort of scenario to get into, right?
Yeah, I have to
like
agree.
Yeah, but like on top of that, they can also take another standpoint. So you're not just talking about like migratory, like basic AI just bumbling around doing like I am a human things. But what about branching storylines like we saw all the way back in fucking 2016 with Eckhart? Where's that?
Yeah.
You know? And like this comes back to iCache. Like, we're always talking about persistence of items and stuff with iCache, but what about persistence of like faction progression and storylines, right?
Yeah, I mean it's an MMO.
Yeah, so like if I go and I do so many like things for X faction and then do so many things for Y action, and then those two storylines like intersect down the line if I take the right mission, like, you know, that just makes everything so much more interesting, right? Like that would just be huge. So that way it's not just like go and get box, bring box to here, story over.
Yeah.
Like that's so boring. Like, you know, like, and it's the same thing with the combat profession or any other profession in the game, right? It's just so incredibly basic.
Yeah, and all these locations are supposed to have personality, right? But they have visual personality, but they don't have any interactable personality. Like the people at Loreville don't act any differently than the people at Microtech, for example, right now, right? Yeah. You might walk up to a guard and you might say something different, but I doubt it. Like that stuff would be kind of interesting. But yeah, oh god, all these people are sending me. Oh, I have a YouTube video of a freaking ship landing at Loreville. Like, guys, it never happened consistently throughout a patch every single day. Like, for it to be in is for something to be in and be working consistently. Like, come on.
Yeah, come on, I'm not crazy. He's not wrong. Like, it's just exactly. Like, we're both right.
Yeah, but all right, Gorgon. I guess we'll leave you there. Have you ever come on the show before? Or is this the first time?
Just that one time, and then I got yelled at because I called Darge a traitor,
Nice.
because we were talking about combat and everything. Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, that was a show.
Yes.
I learned a lesson from that show for sure. I won't do that again. All right, guys. Well, Gorgon, we'll let you go, and I'll bring on the next caller. But I appreciate it, man. Thanks for your call.
GG, brother. Get you later.
Before we go to the next call, we do have another tweet from Sir Green Lemon. I really like this one. At SaltEMike, hashtag ATC, CIG has always used the same tactic to generate hype. They do it by expanding the scope of the game, by introducing / concepting new game mechanics or adding stuff onto existing ones. They can always add on to that. That's why I think the hype will never stop. Very true. Very good point, Sir Green Lemon. Thank you for that one. And with that said, we'll bring on our next caller. He's got 2 names in Discord, so I just called him Zavs. But welcome. Zavs, should I call you Zavs or should I call you Tarsky? Which?
Yeah, Tarsky is fine. Hello.
Tarsky, okay. What's up, man? I'll switch your name then in the thing. So what do you think?
Okay. So I've been listening since I think, what was it? Unsettled was the guy's name that was on here before?
Unmatched. He was the first caller.
Unmatched. That's the one. Yeah. So I've had this thought this whole time about I don't really play Tarkov anymore, but I used to.
Okay.
Much more frequently, and I feel like Tarkov used to have a lot of obviously it's not exactly a fair comparison, comparing Tarkov to Star Citizen, but
no, but you can.
The hype that Tarkov had kind of back in the day. I played since 2016, I want to say, Tarkov. So back when it was like an actual unplayable, constant 500 ping, just like mess. And I didn't even have a PC that I could really run it well at that point either. So it was a bit unplayable, but it was some of the most fun I've had gaming.
Sure.
But the hype that was kind of created with that game, with all of the like, oh, we want like this stuff to happen. We want these different, bigger maps, different guns. And
this will be everything you've ever wanted. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what actually ended up making the game good wasn't any of that. I mean, the game. So now I feel like the game. I don't know if this is factually true, but now I feel like the game has kind of less hype than it ever has. And honestly, it's a better game than it ever has been. At least from like an optimization point of view. Like the ping is good, it runs well, there aren't too many bugs, it doesn't break, on a constant daily basis. And so bringing it back to Star Citizen, I think.
Well, hold on, before you do, what makes the game? Are you trying to say the fact that it's not the fact that it's not shit is what makes the game good? Is what I heard. But what actually makes the game good to you? That weren't the big promises that were made, and I think that's where you can tie things into Star Citizen really well. But before you move on to that, what about Tarkov that wasn't the hype things that make it good for you?
So I actually haven't played Tarkov in a couple months now, but
that's fine.
Yeah, no. So for me, Tarkov, you guys were also talking about the fear factor before. I don't know what you called it, but like fear in a game of like there are actual
risk
consequences of dying. Of course, I think it's something they made really well in Tarkov, because you really lose everything when you die. Like it's just gone. I mean, there's insurance or whatever, but the fact that you're actually scared when you hear people shooting their guns around you.
Yeah.
You hear grenades going off in rooms that are in adjacent rooms or whatever. At least me, it's like a horror game almost. It's really, really scary.
Yeah.
And there's jump scares and everything as well. Like if you don't see someone and they jump out at you or something like that. But it gives it this like atmosphere, which isn't necessarily like a graphical thing. It's more of like this fear that you have when walking around.
I also think they do their AI really well.
Oh, I agree.
Where
I agree, yeah.
Most games, we watched a video earlier on the stream where like you start a new campaign in an FPS game and like the AI were just shooting at each other for 10 minutes missing every shot. I think Tarkov's AI is one of the things that also makes it really sound. And maybe that's where you can tie something into SC. But yeah, I'll let you move on to that part.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, but I thought it was important there.
No, that's fine. Yeah. My point with all of this with Star Citizen is that it's hard to create hype with things that are actually going to make a game good sometimes. And I think Star Citizen has. I mean, I really like Star Citizen. I think that it's a game that's getting more fun. Obviously, it's beautiful, but who cares? But
Sure.
I do think it's getting more fun and playable.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really gonna, in the long run, have make people want to stay and play more. The fact that they will be able to actually have fun playing the game, and it won't just be a one-time, oh my god, this is so beautiful, and then never touch the game again.
Yeah, but what do I do?
Right, exactly. So, addressing like the main question of will the hype die? I don't know about this year. I guess more in general, but for me, what's really hype, what would give me a lot of hype would be things that will increase, performance and what's that word? Is playability, right? Like whatever.
Oh man, quality of life.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're reaching for, maybe.
Yeah. Like it's something that you can interact with. It's something that you can experience without it, breaking all the time. But that's not something that's easily marketable, because if you market your game to someone and you say your main like hype element is
our game doesn't suck anymore. Our game's not shit anymore. Come and play. It doesn't really work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think obviously there's other things they can do to increase the hype, but
sure.
For me, that's the big thing. Is like if the game is fun, that's what's going to make people play it. But the fact that making it fun doesn't necessarily have to do with introducing hype elements into the game, at least not entirely, will make it hard to create real tangible hype that can be translated into the game.
Yeah, sure. And I feel like you're kind of on that where maybe what we get this year is more of those elements, is like, hey, our game sucks less than it did before, but they're not going to have that big, well, guess what, guys, we're jumping to another star system now. It's really happening kind of hype. And I think, the hype dying may never die, but it's certainly, it just doesn't seem like there's any big wave to ride this year either. So it's like a little bit of a weird, 2020 is a weird year, dude. It's a weird year.
Yeah, no, it's whack. Yeah.
It really is. But all right, Darky, before we let you go, is there anything else you want to add and on this?
I don't think there is, honestly.
Okay.
Just kind of, yeah.
That's fine. I just didn't want to let you go without you finishing any of your anything you wanted to say, because I do tend to jump in sometimes and everybody yells at me and hates me for it, so I want to make sure I give everybody their time.
Fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate your call, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime. Be good. All right. Let's bring in our next caller here, which is Misplaced Phantasm. Misplaced, welcome to answer the call. How you doing, buddy?
Morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
All right.
I just have a couple of comments about some of the previous people that have spoken when they talked about ships. Now, I'm a very creative person.
Okay.
So I can spend literally hours looking at these ships.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go and look at the intricacies and how they've done it intrigues me a hell of a lot. And I know there's a lot of creative people who are interested in the game.
Absolutely.
But they're not. But I think they're pushing too much too quickly.
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by that? So, someone earlier said you can buy any ship that you want. Yet, I can go into the pledge store and see, there's probably about 20 ships that I want to buy, but they're in concept.
Yeah.
So, for me, that's a huge surprise. Like, there's too much in concept and not enough, already physically in game.
No.
Now, I started playing Star Citizen in about late 2015, early 2016.
Okay.
And I spent ginormous amounts of hours just, obviously we only had the hangar to play with to begin with. But one thing that I do find is that since I've come back, the game has changed so much.
Yeah.
That I'm not entirely sure. Like, if I was to go to my friend and say, play Star Citizen, they're not going to, it's become perhaps a little too complicated. It's...
Sure. Weather, realistic flight. It's getting a little crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, they've overcomplicated certain aspects. Now, when you're talking about hype, what brought me back to Star Citizen was literally an advert on a website. I think it was an EVE Online website. I am an EVE Online player.
Okay.
But to me, what enticed me to come back to Star Citizen...
What did the advertisement look like?
It was literally just the Star Citizen logo, and it had a ship flying through the Star Citizen logo.
Okay. I'm just trying to get at what about that brought you back?
Well, first of all, I was like, oh, how has this game changed? Has it evolved? You've just been gone so long, you're like, oh, I should see how it's going. Yeah, I should see how it's going.
Okay.
But what annoys me is that, there's a lot of people, and I've always been a fan of risk versus reward. So that comes from my EVE Online experience. I think that the storyline has to be meaningful, and it has to have consequences, unlike, from what I've been told, there isn't really a story. Well, there is a story, but there isn't a long-term story. And how those choices...
I'm sorry, you're talking about, there may not be a story in the MMO game when it's released, or just right now?
When it's released, is there an actual full-on story?
Oh,
there's lots
100% there will be. 100%. 100%. These lore guys are not going to lose their jobs when the game comes out. There's always going to be how every MMO has its overarching storyline, and then you have its side quests and things like that, and you can kind of go out and do your own thing. If this game doesn't have that, whoever's telling you that it won't, we both have the same amount of information, 0, but if we don't have that, I'd be incredibly surprised.
The last thing I wanted to talk about, which is, do I think that the hype will go? No, but I think they've got to advertise more. I think at the present moment, they're making the people that are already playing the game with quality of life and everything, but I think they need to do more advertising, whether it be through YouTube or, outwards sort of advertising, because new players will only find out about the game through streaming media or advertisement. I think they have completely, other than that one advertisement, I haven't seen any advertisement for it.
And do you know what that advertisement likely was? That advertisement was just a backer with a referral code. That was a player that advertised to you. That wasn't Star Citizen.
Yeah.
I bet every dollar I had on it that wasn't Star Citizen advertising.
That's my thing. They need to advertise more. And once they advertise more...
Do they have an experience worth advertising?
At the present moment, yes.
Okay.
I think at the present moment, absolutely yes.
I would disagree, but I respect your opinion on it. I think getting a lot of players, like you said, your friends might not come and join you play. Well, what happens if you get advertised and you get hyped and excited about something, and then you go in the game and I mean, honestly, the Star Citizen experience right now is more fighting the bugs and fighting the game rather than, unfortunately, experiencing it.
But that's what I meant before when I was saying you can advertise without pushing it over the limit. You know,
Okay.
like, this is what we've got at the present moment. This is what we're showing.
And this is what we have in the near future, because you got to cite people somewhat.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen in the next 12 months. This is this, and this. This is what we're aiming for.
I'll ask you this question. You're a backer, obviously, and so am I. Should they be spending our money on advertising at this point? I don't want my money spent on advertising in a game that isn't fixed. I want that money that you would have spent on advertising being spent on a developer that could fix it.
But to get people to subscribe, because that's where they're getting not only just the backers, but people subscribing to the actual concierge and all that sort of stuff. That's what they should be, advertising to me. It's not. So with that extra money that they get from the advertising, then they can put it into fixing bugs. Like, it may slow down bug fixing for a short period of time, but if they get 1,000 people, like 1,000 extra people subscribed, or an extra 100 people putting a pledge in, you can go back to it.
I see what you're getting at, but is it the only thing I would come at you with is you're really thinking short term, and if you are trying to get people to buy this game now before it's a game, I think what you're going to end up with is a lot more unhappy people than happy people. And I think that if you wanted to create hype, that I think there's you would want to create hype about what's coming in the future and what it can be, and not about and not really trying to do player acquisition right now. I don't think player acquisition is something they should be doing, and I feel like it's arguing what they should be. And it may have worked for you, that little advertisement, to get you back in and, oh wow, look at what's going on. I'm interested. Here's some more money, or here is money in general for somebody who's new. But I think what you're going to end up with, like, I think Invictus was actually a failure. I don't think it was a success. They made $15 million in a week. Financially, sure, it was a success, but was it? How many people played the free fly and went, holy crap, this game fucking blows. I'm never touching this thing again. It wasn't ready. It wasn't time for that. That's a situation where they did player acquisition, and I think it might have actually backfired on them in the long term. In the short term, it was a great success. That was hype. But I don't know.
I'll remind you that the original backing on the Kickstarter, everything that they put there was, this is going to happen within this period of time. The game wasn't complete. The game wasn't ready as it is. Well, it's not fully complete, obviously. They've still got a lot of work to do. But I mean, the concept was, you were buying into the concept of it. And I think they should go back to buying into the concept instead of saying, this is, are you interested in this?
My head hurts on that one. I see what you're saying, because it worked. It was really great. It created hype. But at some point, dude, this has to be a reality. It can't be an imagination in your head anymore. At some point, they have to put what is in Chris's head into game code and into the game. And if we start going back to that, you're going to end up with a lot more SaltEMikes than you're going to end up with Misplaced Phantasms.
That's all right.
Because you can appreciate that a little bit more than your average gamer. And I feel like I'm more on the average gamer side, and I can't appreciate that stuff as much. And I think I speak for I don't want to say a larger portion of people, because who knows how many people can really appreciate that stuff. But it's I think a bigger amount of people, more hype, would be around a working and really fun game, rather than the idea of what makes CIG so great is the fact that they are willing to push the boundaries. Like, I do understand where you're coming from. And I mean, it was about the last tweet too, was that they're always pushing the next scope of the game to generate hype, you know? And I feel like that's what you're trying to say, right? Is look at the next boundary that we're pushing, get excited about that. That's cool. But yeah.
I just think that they're pushing too much too quickly. And I think that, to be fair, I mean, this game's been going for, 8 years now?
Mm-hmm.
I think, and people are going to yell at me for saying this, but I think that they should get less money on, this is coming next, to fixing the current problems is what I'm saying, is fix the current problems instead.
So I'm misunderstanding you.
Well,
I thought you wanted them to make money off of what's coming in the future, rather than and generate hype about that, and not fix the game.
The game at the present moment is 100 times better than what it was when I first started playing in 2015.
Absolutely.
I think that they need to do a bit of both and they have to limit the vision of, because this game keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, there has to be a limit.
Yes.
To stop.
Okay, so we were on a different page. I thought you were saying no limits, keep going, sell them on these stupid ideas that may never happen, they did back in the day. It is sort of where I thought you were going there, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. You're making my head hurt. Okay, so we were more on the same page than I thought. All right, cool. I'm glad we worked that one out, because at first I was like, man, what is he talking about? Okay.
No. Yeah, but I think they need to, at the present moment, I think they need to advertise on what's currently going on, and show the progress between, say, when they first started to now. That could be a way to advertise it.
Okay. Man. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to add, Misplaced, then, I guess, before we let you go?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling, then. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just misunderstood what you were saying at first, so I apologize.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm glad we worked it out, though. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for your call. All right. Our last and final caller for the day is C Dizzle. What's up, C Dizzle?
Hey, baby.
Yo, what was the name of that guy? I forgot.
Commander 420.
Yeah, Commander 420. So if you guys don't know, do you guys remember Commander 420 from the Redacted podcast? That was C Dizzle. I don't know if you guys knew that. So
we chilling.
Yeah. So what's up? What do you think about this? Like, will hype die this year? Somebody asked in chat, like, do we even need hype? The CIG even need hype anymore?
Of course. I think any video game, whether or not it's in pre-release, needs a significant amount of hype to maintain player base and guide sales.
Yeah.
But I think will the Star Citizen hype die this year is a good question, but I think the better way to think about it is, what can Star Citizen do to mitigate the loss of hype this year?
Oh, okay. Well, what do you think then?
Obviously, there's a million different roads that they could go down. But I think the easiest way to do it is using systems that are already within the game, so you're not creating new tech to push out before whatever stupid presentation they try to put together at the end of the year, whatever they want to call it, and however much they end up wanting to charge us to view it. I think the easiest way to do it would be to implement the swarm game modes in the server.
So, like, you would just go to a sim pod?
No. Let's say KSP is under attack by Vandul, or maybe they don't want to play that hand yet, so they do. KSP is under attack by bandits that are trying to overtake the only place for you to lower your crime stat rate.
And they come in waves.
Yeah, they come in waves, and it can rotate from system to system or from station to station, and they could be server-wide events. So now the UEE is handing out contracts per kill or per damage. Sprinkle it in however you'd like.
I've seen nobody PogChamp on any idea that anyone's given until you. That's hype.
Yeah, I mean, you create small in-game events that are already based around the tech that they use to send UEE police after us.
Mm-hmm.
And you use that to, instead of that being triggered on my crime stat going past 3 and you sending the appropriate force, you put that crime stat on locations, and that spawns your bandits or your Vandul.
The show's over, boys. We're good. We're done. We figured it out. Hype doesn't have to die.
I'm not all memes, boys.
That's really interesting, man. I think that's super. That would be really cool, and it really goes down to almost what everybody mentioned today too. Was like, maybe we need a little bit more story to the game, right? Maybe we need to interact with each other a bit more, right? These wouldn't be something you can do by yourself. I mean, essentially, was that the Idris mission? But like,
kind of, yeah. Right?
It's sort of why everyone was hyped about the Idris mission, is that it required the server to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And then this, I think, is on a smaller scale, but a more reasonable one that maybe they're able to do.
Yeah, you call it incursions or whatever the hell you want to do it.
Yeah.
And it instead, like, another big cry factor, pain point, whatever you want to call it, that a lot of people have is, I can't do something without someone trying to take what I'm doing from me. And you take that entire community and you point them at one thing to go fix.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, you're going to have people come and break them up and be stupid.
Oh, yeah, of course. You're going to have people that are after their own interests, or you could even put missions in from the bandits saying, hey, help us, not the UE, or defactor missions, whatever you want to call them. Like, there's a lot of things you could do with it, and I guarantee I'm oversimplifying the implementation of it.
Obviously, we always do. We don't know
about anything. Like, my name's like, I know what my name is, and I still misspell it from time to time. Like, so I'm not saying I know anything that anyone else doesn't know, but it just seems like a really easy solution.
Yeah, well, and we know no solution is easy, obviously. So easy is a tough word to use, but you're saying, hey, a lot of the pieces to this puzzle seem to already be in the game. If it's not that difficult to put them together, this could be awesome.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I mean, I imagine it always comes down to this. I always think about this when I try to curb my hype for the game, is this moment where Luke Presley was on an SCL and said, we don't want to redo work, and we're already redoing work for SSOCS, and we're going to have to again for server meshing. So that when he said that, that's when my position on anything added to this game changed. And I went, like, well, that's an amazing idea. Is that something they want to do now when they know they're going to have to redo it for meshing? Maybe not. Maybe they've had that idea for years and they just can't do it, but don't want to do it yet because it'd be a big waste of time. And it's like, you know, yeah, it's just weird.
And then one of the branch off things that I was thinking about for this type of thing that I think you would love more than anybody else is if you ended up tying that crime rate, whatever the stat is when you do crime, to locations. You could do it based on like area population or whatever, and you could say today they're attacking KSP, but they're on the hunt for the next area. All of a sudden they know the next area. Let's say it's a mining belt.
Yeah.
So now you've got the Bandit Scouts or the Vandal Scouts coming out to poke in and see what's going on, and now your mining is now dangerous, and now you need a reason to have multiple people.
I like you.
And it's driven by NPCs, so it side skirts the 50-player cap.
Yeah. And the best thing about what you're saying here is it's got nothing to do with visuals. It's got nothing to do with CitizenCon. It has nothing to do with anything that they've used to hype the game in the past. Everything you're saying is make the game... like, you can do a mission in this game and make the hype also, you know, which is really cool. So yeah, I like that, man. I don't know, is there anything else you want to add? What do you think CitizenCon looks like before I let you go?
I mean, it can't get any worse.
Well, it can't get any more cringe. Like, the things that they show on CitizenCon tend to be cool. True, but I can't. I feel like this will be so much more polished and less just ridiculous cringe. You know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But like, what I mean, when I ask you that is, do you think they'll? Sorry. When I ask you about that, I mean, what do you think they'll show there? Whatever CitizenCon happens to be. Yeah.
You know, everyone's hoping that they're going to show more Squadron 42 stuff.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're going to show more ships.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, they're going to disappoint us by delays, but then they're hopefully going to shore up those disappointments with some, hey, you thought this was going to take a little bit longer, but guess what? We've got right down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is what they're really good at. That's another thing, too, that nobody really mentioned is, oh, we took this thing that you really liked off the roadmap, but surprise, you know, here it is. So they do that,
but
too.
They already had it on the roadmap. They're giving us what we expected.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
It's like I was going to punch you, but now I'm not going to. Well, you weren't going to do it anyway.
True.
But no, I think one thing that this year gives them is the unique opportunity to take their live format experience that they've come to sell us at the end of every year and do a full pre-planned, pre-recorded experience where they don't have mistakes. So they give us a full polished experience as opposed to fumbling through a live one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this gives them an opportunity to do something different, and I hope they take advantage of it and build some hype for themselves. But all right, Dizzle. And
I'm sure you'll get plenty of nays in the chat saying that they won't do it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. It just comes down to this is so different, and anything could happen this year. It's nuts. But all right, Dizzle, I'll let you go, man. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. That was awesome.
Yeah, catch you later. Happy 4 years, by the way. It popped today.
Oh, really? Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. So Dizzle means that he's been subscribed to my Twitch channel for 4 years. Wow, that's crazy, man. Time flies. But guys, that's where the show's gonna end. I think we ended on a really cool note, and I thank you everybody for all the calls. Again, if you do want to take part in Answer the Call live, you can stop by my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, join our Discord, discord.gg/SaltEMike, and come on the show and share your opinions. The next couple shows, I plan on trying to have a couple content creators on, specifically talking about the big changes to like flight, combat, PvP, things like that. So if you guys are interested in those things, keep an eye out and an ear out for it. Again, we do the show on Sundays around 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're able to make it there, please come by and join the show. All right? So thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much for everything, guys. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you are happy to come by on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button and make sure you stop by the show again next time. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.